Hi guys, so basically I have decided to do a story time about the birth of my son, which you guys have seen it. You've seen him in almost all of our vlogs, or all of them, I think. Um, so my son right now, he's 11 months. He turns one in a couple of weeks, and I thought it was important to tell my birth story with him because it wasn't what I planned, it wasn't what I expected, and um, it wasn't just an experience for me, but it was an experience for my husband, my doula, and people who were around me. My son, his due date was January 15th, 2017. But he did not, uh, he wasn't born until January 18th. So basically, what had happened was, for the most part, I had a really healthy, smooth pregnancy. And I want to say about 2 weeks before I gave birth, um, I went and got checked by my doctor, and they were like, you're definitely having contractions, but you aren't dilating at all. You're not dilated, and basically your cervix isn't opening up. So, they ordered me to do a lot of walking. So for, the next 2 weeks, I'm walking, I'm going to the mall. My sister-in-law, she's, picking me up. We're going to the mall for 3-4 hours. I'm walking, exercising, I'm going to the gym, just trying to, you know, get him down. At this point, he was head down, but he had flipped over. So instead of him being face down, he was face up. So, we're doing exercises trying to get him to flip back over. The day that I was due, which was the 15th, I went into my doctor, for my last regular appointment. And my doctor checked me, and they were like, you're basically this much dilated, meaning that I was only a half a centimeter dilated. And at that point, they had told me that he would probably be about 6 pounds. So I'm thinking, okay, that's fair. I could push 6 pounds out. That shouldn't be too hard. And they basically, after that, they scheduled me to come in a week from then if my water did not break or anything. Then they scheduled me for that next Monday to come in and be induced. So I went to the doctor's. That was a Monday. That was the 16th. He was due the 15th. I had that appointment that Monday. And after the doctor's appointment, my husband, he came with me because we were just prepared to, be admitted or to stay or whatever. So we decided to go ahead and, pack our bags in the car just in case that morning, they admitted me. So once we left the doctor's, we're like, okay, well, we have, free time or whatever. Let's go get breakfast and let's go to the mall. So we go to IHOP, and it's all you can eat pancakes, and I stuffed my face. I mean, stuffed my face. And surprisingly, I was able to eat that much because the weeks leading up to that day, I wasn't able to really eat anything because there was no room. I was all belly, and I'll post a picture right here. I was all belly, and there was really no room for me or the baby at that point. So I was surprised that I could eat that much, and I loaded up on syrup and butter and eggs and bake, everything I stuffed my face with. So afterwards, we're like, okay, let's go to the mall, let's get some walking done, let's, pick up, see if we see anything that we want to get the baby or whatever. Go to the mall, and we were at the mall maybe an hour and a half. We're at the point where we're leaving the mall, and I go to pick up my phone, and I'm like, why do my fingers feel weird? And I look down, and my hands are swollen like mittens, and I didn't realize that they had started swelling. I didn't feel anything until I went to go get my phone. So I look at my husband. I look at Frank, and I'm like, oh my God, like something's wrong. So I called my doula, which happens to be one of my good friends, Joe. She was my doula. She was just amazing. So I call her. I'm like, what should I do? She's like, go to labor and delivery, or call your doctor. So I call the doctor back, the one I had just seen, He says, go to labor and delivery. We're going to admit you because you're probably taking a fluid. So we go to labor and delivery where we just go in carrying our bags because we're like, we're not coming home today. And they check me and they're like, okay, everything's good. You know, you're having contractions, which I didn't feel the contractions at all. They're like, you're having contractions, you know, but, you know, you ate a lot of syrup or whatever. So that's probably why, you know, your sugar is high, you know, or your blood sugar is high right now. And like I said, prior to getting pregnant and throughout the pregnancy, I didn't really have any issues. I didn't have high blood pressure or high risk or diabetes or anything like that. So, you know, thankfully I didn't have any of those things. So when, you know, they're telling me this, I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, what's happening? So at one point, the nurse comes in and tells me, she's like, okay, you know, after I had been there like 2 hours, she's like, you know, get dressed, we're going to send you home, you know, but we just want you to give us some urine samples. So, okay, I get up. And mind you, they have the baby monitor right around my stomach. Then they have an IV. So they have all this stuff, and they want me to drag it to the bathroom and pee. All while I have this big belly. So I do that. It takes me about 15 minutes to do that. I come out, and they're like, okay, by the way, we're not going to discharge you. We're going to admit you into labor and delivery. And I'm like, why? I thought everything was okay. They then tell me that the baby's heart rate dropped. And they never mentioned it until that point. So now I'm like pissed. I'm like, okay. Now, prior to now, like my doctor's office is right across the street from the hospital. So this the hospital that my doctor practices at. And I had never had any issues, you know, coming there or doing anything before. So I was like pissed off. It only takes a second for me to get pissed off anyway. So I'm like, you know, heated. So they admit me, call my mom and my doula, we get admitted. So our plan was to do a natural birth. You know, we have our ball and, you know, all of our tools, we have our oils. Initially I wanted to do a water birth, but that particular hospital no longer did it. So I'm like, okay, I can push this baby out, you know, I'm pretty, you know, I'm in good shape for the most part, I'm pretty healthy, cool. Well, what I didn't know was I was literally delivering a watermelon plus another watermelon. So basically, I was in labor for 55 hours, and they put me on Pitocin. And that's basically to help you increase your contractions to induce labor. And so I was having contractions, but they weren't as bad as I imagined. So for the most part, you know, I was pretty fine. I wasn't in a ton of pain. At probably about 10-15 hours in of being in labor, they decided to put a balloon into my vagina, and in hopes that the balloon basically over time it expands, and basically that would open my cervix up. So when it deflates and they pull it out, I would have dilated some. Well, this didn't go well because they put it in, and the nurse who put it in incorrectly. And at that point, because I was still like taking on water weight and swelling, when they tried to do it the second time, it was painful. So they gave me some medicine to basically, it didn't stop me from feeling the pain, but it basically stops your body from being able to respond to the pain. I can't think of the name, but basically it stopped me from being able to respond or react or jerk or anything. And so they give me this, and I'm literally like, it made me so drowsy. Like, I was just like in a daze. I started like saying my numbers in Spanish. I haven't taken Spanish since like 9th grade high school. And yeah, so that was like 12 years ago. So yeah, so I did that, and they put it in, and at that point they left it in for like 6 or 7 hours, and then they came back, took it out, and at that point I was only dilated about 4 centimeters. So, you know, you have to be 10 centimeters to deliver, which isn't good for me, because at that point I had been there an entire day at this point. So at this, you know, now we're at the point where they're like, okay, let's just keep an eye out, see how, you know, if she's gonna dilate some more. And eventually I don't. And so they ended up, after about 30 hours, they gave me an epidural because then the pain started just becoming like too much for me or whatever. And actually, I think it was more so because they knew that I would probably need to have a C-section because it just wasn't going well. They gave me an epidural and pissed my husband off so bad. He was so nasty and rude to me, so much so that the nurses had told the doctor that he was rude and nasty. He was like rushing me to move. Mind you, at this point I'm swollen and I'm pregnant, so I could barely move. My husband's trying to help me move over. He just wasn't very comforting at all, so wrote a complaint about him. Anyway, get the epidural. I'm fine. So now at this point I don't realize how late it is. We're in the next evening, so this is now Tuesday night. Okay, so at this point I'm just in and out, in and out, in and out. So I'm sleep, I'm woke, I'm sleep, I'm sleep. So being, that I was in labor all the time, I didn't even know all that time had gone past because I was just in and out. The first night I was, awake, I was well aware, I was, just really engaged, I'm like, I'm gonna push this baby out. But by, with all the picking and probing and plucking and all of that, I really was just like worn out. So at that point, my mom and my sister-in-law, basically were like, she's so swollen, she would hurt herself trying to push this baby out, even if she was dilated. So, maybe you guys need to just, discuss a C-section. The nurse, well, they weren't nurses, they were like CNAs or something. They decided that they didn't want their opinion and told them, that's not for you to discuss. It is for my mom to discuss because she has my well-being at heart, and clearly you don't know what you're doing because you allowed me to be in labor for 55 hours. Duh. So my husband, decided like, if it's the safest thing for her and the baby, let's do it. I was pretty much incompetent, so a lot of the things that I'm telling you is just based off pictures that I have in my phone and, things that my husband, my doula, and my mom and sister has told me. So, because a lot of it is still just like, did this happen? Did what happened? It's all over the place for me. So, after that, we, the doctor came in, Dr. Dennis came in, and they were like, she was highly upset. She's like, why didn't you call us? Why didn't you, say, okay, she's been in labor too long. She needs to, go and have a C-section right away. So literally, I heard her say this, and within 30, 40 seconds, she came over to me. She was like, I'm going to take care of you. You're going to be okay. Because at that point, I was just dazed. Everything was cloudy. I could barely see. I remember going into the room, which is all white. They put me on a steel table. When people tell you that, it's so real. It's not an exaggeration. It's not a movie. It's real. So they put me on a steel table, and the people in that room are amazing. Like, no exaggeration. They took care of me and did it so well. I was nervous, because I never had a surgery before, never had a major surgery before, never had a baby before, so, and, the plan had changed, and I was okay with the plan changing. I wasn't upset that the plan changed, because at that point, my only concern was me and my baby being okay. So, at this point, they put me on a table, they're like, are you okay? They put R&B slow jams on. Now, anybody who knows me knows that I am a grown man crooner, okay? I sing grown man songs on a grown man level, okay? So, they had John B. playing, Johnny Gill. Everybody know I love Johnny Gill as well as New Edition. So y'all gonna come through and play that while I'm giving birth to a baby? Okay. So they put a warm towel around my neck. He's like, then they're in there singing. And I'm like, they're trying to keep me calm. They start giving me oxygen, whatever. They ask me, like, can you feel this? Touch me, making sure that, I don't have any pain. And at one point, I think that I'm suffocating. I'm like, oh my God, I can't breathe. They're like, that's just the effects of the medicine. You're going to be okay. Bop, bop, bop. So after they get me set up, they bring Frank in. Frank is sitting next to me. and you know they have the sheet up because you know it's gonna be bloody and stuff. And I actually have been in on a C-section and saw the guts on top of my cousin's chest, so I know that's not something Frank would want to see anyway. So anyway, I can't tell you how long ago I was in there because I really don't know. I didn't look at the clock when I came out. I mean, when I went in or when I came out. But basically what happened is my husband, you know, he's just talking, you know, trying to talk me through it, you know, because all I'm thinking is, I hope nothing goes wrong. I hope my baby is okay. I hope he didn't lose oxygen. I hope he's not bruised. You know, I'm just hoping. And then I'm also like, I want this process to hurry up and be done. You know, I know it's not, you know, like I'm getting a cast put on or a tooth removed or something like that. Like, this is major, you know? So I'm like, I wanted to go by fast because I want to get off this table. I want to go to bed. I hadn't really slept, really. You know, I was in and out, but I wasn't resting, you know? So, and then, you know, literally, I've probably seen all of 30, 40 people in that time from going into the hospital to coming out. So, you know, we're in the room, and, you know, he's talking me through. He's like, you're going to be okay. You're doing great, you know? And one thing you do feel is the tugging and the pulling. It doesn't feel painful, but you know that they're doing it. So I felt them pull something out of me. I didn't know it was a baby. I didn't know if it was my, you know, intestines or a whole baby, you know, but I felt them, you know, pulling things out. And then before I knew it, you know, I hear them rushing over, you know, putting the baby out, and I hear him crying. As soon as I heard him cry, oh my gosh, like just thinking back to that moment, it just, I can't express how it made me feel. Like the tears, you know, like it's like it was just us and the music and the doctors, and they're, you know, talking and smiling, and then I hear his cry, you know, and I'm like, my baby is here and he's okay. And literally, you know, I'm laying down on the table and the tears are just coming out. And then I of course, you know, I'm thug life or whatever. So I'm like, I'm not going to cry, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm about to cry now. And I'm like, blah, 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 I'm not going to cry, whatever. And I look over, my husband, he's crying too. And I'm like, oh my God, we have a baby. So here's the funny thing about this story. So I always said, I'm like, listen, whether I push a baby out or you take a baby out of my abdomen, don't put that crusty baby on my chest. I'm not kissing that baby, okay? I lied, okay? I lied. I didn't know, okay? I didn't know. Now, I didn't kiss him, but I touched him. They laid him on my chest. I touched him, okay? My husband, this dude turned into goddamn Superman, Batman, pull his clothes off real fast. They do, you know, chest to chest. They do, is that chest to chest? Yeah, they do chest to chest. So he's holding the baby. I look over, I'm like, where the hell is your clothes? What happened? You know, where'd your clothes go? They done threw a blanket over him. Now he look like he about to take my baby into the Lord of the Rings or something. Anyway, so that happens. And then before I know it, they roll me out or whatever, and I'm like, cool, this is good or whatever. So at this point, it's like, soon as they take me out, it's like whatever medicine they gave me has me drowsy. So I can barely talk, I can barely open my eyes, I can barely keep them open, I can barely comprehend what's going on. So like, after you give birth or after you get a C-section, and they basically like roll you into like a little triage recovery section, while, you know, they get your room together or so people can visit you. And I don't remember seeing my mom, my husband, my sister, my doula, and these are the people who had been at the hospital for 3 days. 3 days. So, you know, they had been there the whole time. And then my in-laws came and saw the baby, and then after a while they, you know, took me up to my room. Now, this is the part of the story that is insane to me, because I never experienced any type of surgery or anything like that. I didn't have any idea or any thoughts about what it would take what it would take physically, because it's already a lot mentally. And I'm going to do a story on postpartum, because I experienced that as well. But the physical pain, so by the time I got to my room, it was probably like 8 o'clock, not close to 9 o'clock at night. And my mom was there, you know, she kissed me, said she'd see me later, whatever, and then she left. And, you know, you really don't get that much sleep or rest while you're there because, you know, they come in and check you and the baby, you know, ask you if you want to breastfeed, blah, blah, blah. I did breastfeed my son for 6 weeks, but my son was 9 pounds and 4 ounces. That's the thing I forgot. So when they took him out and they weighed him, he was 9 pounds and 4 ounces. And we were surprised. And then they said, oh, no, that's not right. So we're thinking, oh, somebody's dyslexic. You know, they mixed it, it's a 6 and not a 9. No, they mixed up. They thought it was 9 pounds and 2 ounces. He was actually 9 pounds and 4 ounces. So, okay. Well, we go upstairs and, you know, my mom leaves or whatever. And the next day, I'm starting to feel pain. You know, I hadn't been walking for 2 days. So that first night I got in there, I had been walking around and stuff. From that Tuesday up until Thursday morning, I had not stepped foot on the floor besides twice going to the bathroom. So the last time I stepped foot on a floor and stood up, I had a baby inside of me. Now this time, the baby is out and there's internal and external stitches and staples. So my nurses were wonderful. They were amazing. I really owe them so much because they took such good care of me. They did such a wonderful job making sure I was okay. And I'm really grateful because, you know, some people don't have that type of experience. But they took such a good care of me and Deuce and Frank and was comforting. One of the nurses, she even prayed with me because that Thursday when I woke up, probably around noon, they're like, okay, it's important that we get you moving around because, you know, if not, when you try to, you're not going to be able to, you know, get around well. And especially you're going home with a baby, like you're going to have to move around. And I was still very swollen. I had already gained probably about close to 50 pounds while I was pregnant. And with all of the edema, I had probably gained another 10, 15 pounds. So I was huge. So they tried to stand me up. And at that point, the medicine had worn off. So I could literally feel my skin pulling apart, stretching apart. I could feel where they cut me. I could feel the internal and external stitches. And what they revealed to me later was that, you know, you have multiple layers of skin. And so what happened was once they cut that first layer of skin, and they cut, you know, a second layer to actually get into my abdomen, they had to stretch this side of my abdomen open more to get him out. And so that's why I had internal dissolvable stitches. And so that was that extra pain that I was feeling. So literally I got to my feet and I went down. I mean, and I'm screaming in pain. I was in so much pain that while I was going down, my husband had to catch me and pull me up and hold me up. And they basically had to like roll a chair over and put me in the chair. And I'm bawling, crying. I mean, because I had never experienced anything like it. Never experienced anything like it. So they're like, my nurse, her name was Linda, and I knew I would love her because my mom's name is Linda. So she was just a sweet spirit, kind, generous, warm. And she's like, her and Taylor. Miss Linda and Taylor, they were wonderful. So they came over and they were like, you're going to be okay. You know, we're going to help you get through this. And then Miss Linda picked me up and rolled me over to the bathroom. and she basically, washed me up, cleaned my wounds, patched me up, got me dressed, and got me back in bed. And they did that, consistently. So at this point, I'm in the hospital for 5 days. Most people are in the hospital 2 to 3 days. So at this point, I'm in there 5 days. And they didn't let me go home until about Friday night at like 8 or 9 o'clock because they also had a catheter in, and because I was so swollen, they cut really close to my bladder. So they were afraid to take my catheter out because they didn't think I could use the bathroom on my own. But I was determined. I said, take this the catheter out. I'm going to show you I can use the bathroom. They took that catheter out. I drank 3 cups of water. And I ran the bathroom, used the bathroom. While I was using the bathroom, I called my mom and I said, come and get me because I'm getting out this hospital today. Come get me and my baby and bring his cute outfit. Boom. Okay? And called my nurse. I banged on the door. I said, call, what was her name? I don't remember her name. I said, but call my nurse because I'm getting out of here today. Okay? My brother-in-law, he came and brought me some bang. The hospital food isn't that good. Brought me some banging food. Banging. And actually that same day, I went home. And that process wasn't easy because, we lived in an apartment. So I had to walk up like 2 flights of stairs. And then I tripped up the stairs and pulled my stitches. And the next couple of days, it took some time. Even now when I pick my son up, I can feel my skin stretch where they had to pull my skin. But it's so worth it, so worth it. He's so beautiful, he's so amazing, he's so smart. Now my baby, he is larger than in charge. He's 11 months and he's about 30 pounds, which, is to be expected when you're born 9 pounds. So, yeah, I just want to share my birth story with you guys, and eventually, probably within the next couple of days, I want to do a postpartum story, because that's something that I dealt with and I didn't realize I was dealing with initially. So I definitely want to share that story because, I want you guys to be able to talk to someone about it, or be able to acknowledge it, or know what it looks like, what it feels like, and how to get through it, So I'm definitely going to do that. I thank you guys for watching this story time. I hope to do more story times like this. I am going to do a story time about this guy I dated in college, because I have so many stories like that, which are hilarious. But definitely thank you guys for watching. Please watch our vlogs, and comment and tell us what types of things you want to see. But thank you again.